You see the spirit from the hostages, and that's what they are, as hostages. They've been treated terribly and very unfairly, and you know that, and everybody knows that. And we're going to be working on that soon as the first day we get into office. We're going to save our country, and we're going to work with the people to treat those unbelievable patriots, and they were unbelievable patriots and are.
Well, I think it's very unfortunate at a time that there are American hostages being held in Gaza, that the president or any other leaders would refer to people that are moving through our justice system as hostages. And it's just unacceptable. I was there on January 6th. I have no doubt in my mind, Margaret, that some people were caught up in the moment and that entered the Capitol. And they're certainly entitled to due process of law for any nonviolent activities that day. But the assaults on police officers, ultimately an environment that claimed lives, is something that I think was tragic that day, and I'll never diminish it.
Mike Pence, once again, taking a stand against his former boss. He also refused to endorse Trump for president. Those comments from Donald Trump came during a stump speech for a Senate candidate in Ohio. But Trump was more focused on his personal grievances, giving more incendiary remarks. Meanwhile, the former president has so far refused to condemn Vladimir Putin for the death of Alexei Navalny. But for the first time publicly, Putin addressed the death of his chief rival. Also ahead, we'll show you the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's response to Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer after the highest-ranking Jewish elected official in the U.S. called for new elections in Israel. So we're looking at news here and around the world, but Donald Trump again, the Republican front runner, who's basically clinched the nomination.
Right.
Addressing one of the first things he'll do in office is free the, and I say this in quote, hostages. It's beyond twisted for him to use that word. Not surprised, but as disturbed as we'll ever be.
Well, and what if you were an American family with hostages still being held in tunnels underneath Gaza, people who actually are hostages who are doing nothing but being in their home or at a music festival, minding their own business when Hamas terrorists came and seized them and beat them, raped them, abused them, took them underground.
Holding someone.
And Donald Trump comparing those people in name to others that drove from across the country, came to the Capitol, used bear spray on police officers, beat the hell out of cops, beat the hell out of other people who got in their way, wanted to hang Mike Pence, were looking for Nancy Pelosi, destroyed a lot of offices, defecated in the United States Capitol, and again, jammed cops' heads in doors and tried to hurt as many people as they could. And Jonathan Lemire, Donald Trump, I remember the day after Donald Trump and members of his family getting in trouble for calling these rioters patriots. And they backed off. Some of them backed off. Donald Trump now just weighing straight in, saying that these people were patriots and that, others saying that this wasn't a bloodbath. I would just suggest that you talk to the wives, sons, and daughters of those police officers who lost their lives as a result of January 6th. And they will tell you that their loved ones lost their lives as a result of January 6th. And Donald Trump continues to praise these people. And he says everybody knows that they're patriots. No, everybody doesn't. In fact, you have to be twisted and demented in your head. If you could look at the rioting, if you could look at people beating the hell out of American cops, out of police officers with American flags and trying to kill them and call them hostages after they went through the court system. That is a sickness and a twistedness. And the continued, you have people continuing to try to apologize for this behavior, starting with Donald Trump, trying to minimize what happened on January the 6th. And, for those who say, oh, why do you talk about Donald Trump? We talk about Donald Trump because, yes, democracy is on the line when Donald Trump says this is normal political behavior. The RNC, of course, said it was normal political behavior. Donald Trump says it, and he says those people abusing police officers are patriots, and those that got sent to jail for trying to overrun the U.S. Capitol and for beating the hell out of cops are hostages. There's nothing normal about this. And for those weak-kneed wimps that say we should never mention Donald Trump's name and just turn our faces from this and talk about something else, I would suggest there are a lot of Germans who tried that with Hitler. Didn't turn out well.
Just look at this. Just look at this footage. Look at this footage. These are rioters with flagpoles, with hockey sticks, with spears, trying to attack cops. We just saw footage there, a cop being crushed in a door, being tasered with their own weapons, being assaulted with their own guns. This is, by any definition,
these people patriots.
This, by any definition, is a bloodbath. And I know there's a lot of debate this weekend about Trump's use of bloodbath at that Ohio rally. We'll get into that. But let's take a second back and just note how he started that rally in Ohio. They played the January 6th Convict Choir, their version of the national anthem.
These convicts here. These rioters.
And Donald Trump, first of all, said they were hostages and said that on day one, were he to be elected. Mind you, he also said on day one he'd be a dictator on day one. He's also saying now on day one he would try to free these hostages. But more than that, Donald Trump was a former commander-in-chief of this nation, and he saluted. He held up his hand and saluted at his temple this version of the national anthem, the Convict Choir's version of the national anthem. And in that image, even as much as any of his rhetoric, shows you what he wants to bring to this nation again, were he to take office.
Well, let's look at that moment, Jonathan, because again, people are so numbed by Donald Trump right now. We have Ed Luce that we're going to be bringing in a little bit. Ed did what I think a lot of us should do, what a lot of journalists should do, and that is, instead of trying to figure out the totality of the chaos, Ed said, let me just tell you what happened over the past 5 days and just focus on that and understand that if any candidate from any other time had done one of these, the multitude of things that he did over 5 days, they would forever be eliminated from American political discussion. That doesn't happen here, and it doesn't happen. And so, yeah, that's a real problem, including, again, pledging allegiance to a convict choir's version of the national anthem. Take a look.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the horribly and unfairly treated January 6th hostages.
I mean, it's again, these people, I guess it's a cult. I don't know. Maybe they're brainwashed into it. But I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No apologies. No apologies. There are a lot of people, I'm going to travel out of Manhattan where I've lived my entire life and drive into Pennsylvania and try to understand a bit better these. No, you don't have to really drive from the Upper East Side to Scranton to figure out these are people that want an autocrat. These are people who don't like American democracy the way it is because they understand that they lose a fair fight. They don't want a fair fight. They don't want a fair political fight. They want to accept election results when they win, and they want to start a revolution when they lose. And they're still embracing it here. It is sick, Mika. It's sick. And, I swear to God, the press has got to wake up and start saying, let's try to understand who these people are. It's pretty obvious. They have the video. They see the cops that are getting the hell beaten out of them. And they're calling these people hostages. They're lying day in and day out about what happened on January the 6th. They're lying and saying, oh, nobody tried to hurt Mike Pence. Nobody tried to hurt Nancy Pelosi. And yet you talk to the security detail, they were calling home. They were calling home to say goodbye to their loved ones like it was on 9/11 because they thought they were going to get caught by Donald Trump supporters and killed. So please, I mean, trying to understand this seriously is like trying to understand a poisonous snake that's about to bite you. And it's American democracy that's at risk over the next 6 months. And I swear to God, the fact that this race is even close speaks volumes about what Donald Trump has done to this country.
If it makes you feel any better, I have already put evac on alert. He's ready to go if it comes to that. General, I can assure you.
Hey, General, let me into the war room to see you, so I had to hack my way onto this frequency.
This better be critical, Willie.
Sir, come on, what is it now, please? Okay, couple of things. I'm running low on the double. I was thinking about taking a couple of months sick leave, maybe starting today. And, oh yeah. I intercepted a transmission from Megatron.
Then send it through.
Yes, sir, right away, sir. And so I was so damn weird going on the other stuff.
This is your last warning, insects. Relinquish what remains of the Allspark.
So who's the insect? You? What? Who's the insect?
Protect you. They were defeated on our world, and we will defeat them here.
This was just a diversion. Security, please bring him up. Rabbit, she's already inside. Dees! Give me an update on that reserve. Boss readiness. What was his name? What was it?
Evac, sir.
Right, evac.
She's right in front.
We're facing a heavy sustained attack. They appear to be after the Allspark program. General! National security advisor. Stay down. Pushing it out. There is a celebration. The amateurs for a suicide mission.
So I had to hack my way onto this frequency.